Hello, guys. I am super excited to do this live today. I'm bringing in, let everyone kind of get in here if you're going to get in here early. But I am talking to my client, Lindsay, today. And I'm super excited to talk to her because we're going to be talking about kind of the nitty gritty of what it's like to eat more food and talk about her mindset. And I'm sure a lot of ladies here can relate to this, kind of like myself. I kind of see myself in kind of things how Lindsay's journey has gone from being afraid of eating more food to eating more food. So I'm super excited to talk about this, and I'm going to bring her on. Accept. Let's give it a second here. There we go.
Hey, what's up?
Hi.
Hey,
Like,
can you hear me?
yes, I can.
Okay, good.
Thank
Awesome.
God. I'm like the most technology not advanced, so the fact that we got this, I'm good.
Awesome.
Well, guys, this is Lindsay. Again, we've
Hey.
worked for 6 months now, and I think her story is super powerful because, like I was saying, like I've seen myself a lot in you, and where the journey from like a mindset around eating food has went from like not I wouldn't say fear based, but like
Yeah.
kind of the world has taught us, and then seeing you progress through to the other side is like really cool. And like I went through the same thing, so that's really
Yeah. Yeah. I like kind of grew up in gymnastics and doing sports my whole entire life. And when you are wearing leotards and people will say stuff to you eventually, especially as you start to mature. And I feel like I don't know, just kind of under that stress. Not that anybody was malicious or anything like that in
cool.
general, but and then growing up, I think also in the earlier 90s where that body type was like that really super, I guess it's called like heroin chic or something, that body type is kind of coveted. Kind of messes with your mind a little bit. So yeah, I kind of have, and I still probably will struggle for the rest of my life with uh, mentality like skinny is better, like less food and whatever. But I mean, working with you has helped that tremendously, and it'll be good to let that mindset go. And it's been good to let that mindset go and eat more and realize like, hey, I feel good feeling stronger and having more energy, and just being able to not feel tired and hungry and afraid to eat the calories. It's been pretty awesome actually.
And it's just cool because, like, same thing. I was a gymnast, and it wasn't like anyone said anything specifically, but I think you just feel that just
Hmm.
because, like, I think women as well, and just like society, relate thinness to health.
Hmm.
And times, I'm sure you can agree with this, like, the times I was my thinnest or my leanest, I was probably the most unhealthy,
Yeah.
for sure, mentally, but also physically. Like, I'm sure my bones were not very, like, they're probably pretty brittle because I was so undernourished and because I was working out so hard. Because when you're in that environment as well, you're working out 20 plus hours a week,
Yeah.
we're definitely underfed. So I think it's like the standpoint of, allowing ourselves to, like, I know dissociate, it's kind of like not the best word, but dissociate from that just because we're lean means we're healthy, when in reality for a lot of people, including maybe you and me at one point.
Hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Just because you're leaner does not mean you're healthier. It actually can probably mean the opposite. And I mean, if you look at a lot of the pro athletes, even like the CrossFit athletes, like their lifestyle that they live, like training up to just certain periods isn't like the most healthiest. And,
Mhm.
it's not sustainable long term.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. So what kind of stuff were you dealing with before we started working together, and then you're like, okay, maybe I like need help?
Um, just kind of figuring out macros, like how much food. I always, you can search on the internet for, macro calculators and things like that. And it's always like, even like how much you should weigh for your height, or all like how many calories you need to be eating if you're doing this kind of workout. You can Google and hundreds of sites can come up. So just kind of figuring out like what I'm actually eating and like what I need to properly fuel my body. That was like one of the biggest things, like how many grams of protein versus carbohydrates versus fats, that type of thing. Kind of just finding that right algorithm, I guess. So.
Yeah. And it's funny because I just had a question in my Facebook group the other day. Someone was like, I keep trying to use all these different websites and they're all telling me different things. And I made a good point. Like, of course, and sorry, I'm puppy watching and she's at
Oh,
work.
that's all right. My dog's in the window
Yeah.
back there.
But I reminded her, like, of course, you can use any different type of website, but never going to take into account of like your previous dieting history.
Yeah, yeah.
And dieting can be like all encompassing because, we could put your numbers into a thing, but like when I look at you, I was like, hey, we need to get here, but we are, right? And
100%.
That's not like for us, it was not like, okay, we're going up. We had to slowly get there. So if someone's like, I can just use a website, remind yourself that like you may be very far off from where you need to be and it's going to take time to get
even the website, like I think was like, oh, you need to be at like 16,000 calories or something like that. It like, or not 16,000, but like 1,600 calories. And I mean that's not even where that's like far below where we ended up. And I just keep thinking like if I just would have kept kind of going this route, you always feel kind of tired, you always underfed, and especially now, like kind of being a little bit older, and like, having to take estrogen every day and having your hormones kind of not be there because, it's just kind of like I worry about that, like, osteoporosis and all of that type of like losing muscle mass type of stuff. And granted, I know I'm not old. I'm only I turned 42 here shortly. I'm not old, but like, you do get older and then you worry about injury and stuff like that. And I just want to be fed well enough where I'm not going to be like a brittle old lady and I'm not going to be like losing all my muscle mass and then in turn becoming a brittle old lady. So, it was, and like, that's, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Okay. I always say to like women, even in their 40s, that like they are like, well, it says like, I only want to eat like 1,500 calories. I'm like, okay, so do you fall and break a hip? Like, is that how you want to? Because that's where kind of the society pushes us towards to eat less, be smaller, not setting you up for longevity. So for someone like yourself, when you told me how much exercise and just activity, like you're a nurse, you're on your feet, you like dogs on walks, like you're not sitting at home, I was like, Lindsay, you are not eating enough food.
No, not at all.
500 calories. So it's just like insane that you were able to, I would say, function, not thrive on where you were at when we first.
Yeah. And I think too, what helped, like, just the macro portion of it, like I was way low on protein and, I would think probably like higher on carbohydrates, just because I think with running where I was like coming from trying to train more long distance type of running, I was just eating like all the carbs and not really getting enough protein.
Right.
And I think that helped kind of flipping that switch a little bit too. So
like you were more going for, performance in running. Okay, let's turn back and build strength. So which is, I think, super important. I always say, like, you can have any hobby you want. Like, I try not to discriminate against different forms of exercise, but like everyone should be building muscle in some type of capacity. Like that's still important.
Absolutely. I feel like weightlifting, I don't know. I feel like I'm missing a piece of me if I'm not lifting weights a little in some respect,
Yeah.
Even if it's not like the heaviest I've ever lifted, like not max effort anymore, but just, I don't know, lifting in general.
No, I always say, like, I will go insane if I don't, like challenge my mind in some way, because sometimes when you're lifting, it like does feel like you're really challenging like your mind and, what you think you can accomplish.
Absolutely.
What type of things, like throughout that 6 months, do you feel like you notice within your body from eating more food?
Energy, 100%, much more energy. I didn't feel like, I feel like beforehand there was always this kind of like tired, like underlying like just fatigue. That's a word I want to look for. Not maybe necessarily tired, just kind of fatiguing. Like by the end of the day, just I feel like that went away though. Like I feel like it started to go away, and I was feeling like, oh, okay, like I can eat more food, and as long as I'm doing the activity that I usually maintain, I'm sure if I like went a month eating that amount of food but not doing my normal activity, then yeah, I probably wouldn't have had desired results. But I think that's what it is. Like, you know, like we talked about lifestyle and stuff like that. Stuff changes, and you always can alter your nutrition to change with it. But just like being less fatigued, like that feeling, that slight feeling of fatigue. Yeah.
Yeah, and
That
like
was good.
and that obviously turned in for you to be able to work out, perform better, and lift weight, which is what we wanted to do because you took time and we're running. We're like,
Yeah.
okay, let's change gears. So it wasn't like, you know, overnight you were like, oh, I feel like amazing. We had
Oh, yeah.
we had
Yeah.
food in over time, and that's super cool. Is like I think women get confused when we say like eat more food. They think it's gonna turn directly into fat, but when you have more energy, you performed way better.
Yeah. 100%. I didn't feel like I was dragging as much or as tired. Like even like the CrossFit workouts, I felt like a little more energized by the end. Now, granted, with that whole month that I was like moving and everything like that, stuff started changing, and that's a whole other thing that you have helped me with. But like if I would have continued without moving and all of that other stuff, I think that I would be really, really reaping those benefits of eating and working out, and probably like getting back up to like some more like max lift numbers that I had, you know, a couple years ago prior to spending all day in the woods running and training for for a long race. So,
Yeah,
you know.
that's the cool thing. Like I always talk about like phases and mindset, and like you never know what's like gonna pop up in your life, and like we were really focused on let's get stronger, and then life got in the way. But it wasn't, I don't think it was like and you didn't use it as an excuse to like stop everything.
I tried not to. It was hard, don't get me wrong. It is very hard, but like what you gave me as far as like the not measuring things, but like the hand, you know, just kind of like the more visual references to the amounts of foods, and like kind of cutting back the carbs a little bit, but trying to keep the protein the same, like that type of stuff, extremely helpful. Like, and that I think helped me to be able to kind of keep going with that, you know.
Yeah.
Although that is hard to log in my fitness pal, because it's like handfuls of like you know what I mean, like a palm size of, I didn't really know how to do that, but I in my head, you know, I kept track of it all. Yeah. So,
You know, some kind of range, you know, you can stick with that. And
yeah,
beauty of just like having something that's like not only customized, but like where you can keep saying, okay, I'm gonna continue to make progress, I'm not gonna like fall back. Because
yeah
you that I've worked with for a while, like I know, like maybe not myself, like my husband, like you get busy, people stop eating for a lot of people.
that's yeah.
Like we have to like find, okay, if I know that's my habit, how can I get ahead of that?
Yeah.
We don't fall back into like old habits.
Yes, yeah. And that's one thing that actually going through this with you, I was surprised to find out about myself, is that I really like revert back to that not eating enough food. Where in my brain I think to myself like, wow, I'm eating. Like my brain's like, yeah, you're eating food, you're probably eating too much food. If you're not tracking, how do you know you're not, you know, like that type of panic mode, you know? But it's really like I do not eat enough when I'm either stressed or busy. And that was very, very surprising to me. Or I eat like all carbs and no protein, you know what I mean? Because it's just like fast type of like easy to go to type of stuff. So I don't know.
That's interesting. How do you feel like your mindset has developed through the past 6 months?
Definitely happier, like with I feel more comfortable. Let me just say that. I feel more comfortable like approaching food and kind of breaking it down for the day. Like I feel comfortable getting more food. Let's just say that, just in general. I don't have that like nervousness, like, oh, I might get a little extra like stuff on my stomach if I eat too much. You know, just that old way of thinking. Like I feel much more comfortable.
good. And that,
Yeah.
like, so I'm like myself, same thing. I think those, not ideas, but those opinions and thoughts
Hmm.
they creep back. It's
Yeah.
important to have someone like my coach in the past would be like, hey, like we don't believe those, we don't hold those true anymore. Like let's bring it back.
Yeah. Yeah.
New normal that we've created. So that's super good to hear that because that was like I knew from the start we needed to focus on mindset. Because like I always say, like we can work on getting the best results as possible, but if we don't fix the mindset, whether it is like I have to eat less to weigh less, or if I'm not perfect, what's the point? You can't hold those results long term because those things
Yeah.
come back.
100%. And that's, I mean, it is just kind of not only just a food journey with you, but it is like a journey of changing those mindsets, of breaking those barriers that you've had about yourself before. So, and I appreciate that because that's something that probably, I think even more than the food itself needed to change. Do you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
your mind needs to thrive too, along with your body. So that's just, yeah, it's a kind of a, like I think to myself, oh, I'm like in my 40s now, I'm a lot wiser, but like there's still that portion of yourself that's like, dang, it's like a slap in the face. You know what I mean? Like you just need to shed this coat, let it go. You know what I mean? It's
100%.
let this go. It's not real. You know?
Yeah. It'd be hard because like social media, like I always say, things are like
Yeah.
pushed in your face like this or look like that.
Hmm.
But it's just like that consistent work of, we got to work on the food. Like a lot of women that come to me want to weigh less or look a specific way, but part of a mind we really have to change about like, why do we want to do that? Is it
Yeah.
an actual reason like health or it's just something you've made yourself believe?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think it's okay to want to look a certain way, to want to be, because most of the time I think it is like a little fitter, a little healthier, you know what I mean? Like in the public's perceived notion of being healthier, you know what I mean? But I think you need to change like in your mind what looking healthier actually is. Do you know what I mean? Like I just, because like you said, a lot of times thinner isn't healthy. And I think a lot of times being a little bit thinner is healthier for some people, not everybody,
Mhm.
but people who do need to maybe shed a couple extra pounds to get their blood pressure down or to, get their A1C a little better or whatever, just
Yes.
that's okay, but
Yeah.
I just, man, social media and filters and
Yeah.
like starting back in the early 90s, whether it's not as like widespread as it is today, like it just, man, it's just, I just, as a society and women, I think it's just good to like lean on other women and try to rise above that. That's all. And I think that I appreciate you helping me to get that straight with myself too. So,
Good. That's good.
yeah.
Do you feel like there was something, and it doesn't have to be one thing,
Mhm.
but that helped you become successful over the past 6 months?
Um, like with what we did
Yeah.
together.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I
That
think
improved the most or kept you improving?
I think having the accountability with you, like checking in with you and being able to ask you questions and just having you there to like when I was trying to figure stuff out, like guide or you be like, hey, like you need to do big girl meals and hey, you need to, that type of stuff. I think that actually helped me keep going because I feel like it was, you're not trying to figure it out on your
Mm.
own, you know.
Yeah. And like,
Yeah.
like Maddie's going to ask me a question or say something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I'm okay with that. I need to be called out on my bullshit sometimes.
That's funny. But yeah, I think that like, it's easy to like give someone numbers or give someone
Mhm.
like, here's bye. And that like, even for myself, like that's the clients that want to, really make progress. Like they want that
Yeah.
feedback and they want to keep seeing how they can improve. So I appreciate that. Like you were a very hard worker and always were responsive. Like, great, okay, I can work on this. We'll do that, and then you take that feedback. So that was really cool to see that.
Yeah, yeah, and it was helpful to have that feedback, like I said. Otherwise, I would have been like, "Oh, wait, what does she want me to do? Like, what should I be doing?"
Exactly.
So, yeah,
If you were to tell someone, let's say there's a woman on the fence of starting with a coach and it doesn't have to be me or just prioritizing their health, like stepping into a gym, like what would you tell them to like get them to go?
oh, do it. Just do it. Like leap off that cliff and do it. But be patient with yourself too, because it doesn't happen overnight. Not at all. Like, and it's not some 4-week thing. It's not some like, you know, just little 6-week thing. Like it's something that like, if you're going to do this, it's going to be like a life change, not just like, you know, it should be for your life. It should be for your health. So, but do it. Get with a coach too, because I mean, truthfully, like we already talked about, the millions of Google sites that you can look up to try to figure stuff out. Yes, it's a place to start. But like I said, mine had me listed at 1,600 calories, and granted, we were close to 2,000 by the time, you know, at the ending of all of our time together, you know. So I mean, it had me off by quite a bit to just the little Google calculator. So I think that having a coach to guide you when starting is key too. So, but yeah, definitely do it. And, you know, seek somebody that you're comfortable with though. Like somebody that isn't like, doesn't take a year to get back to you, or not that you ever did. But I mean, I would be kind of like annoyed, I think, if 3 days later, I mean, listen, I know you went on a trip. I'm not, and I don't think I mess it, but like you were upfront with all of that stuff. Do you know what I mean? I feel like if you would have been somebody that would have like 3 or 4 days later would have been like, oh, finally answering my question, I'd be like, well, like I've been wondering this for a little while now, you know, but you're not. Like I said, you're kind of right there and responsive, and like I said, just holding me accountable also. So, and that's cool. So, I mean, definitely seek a coach is what I would tell somebody new to all of this.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate you so much for getting on here and talking with me. And
Sure.
it's been so fun working with you. I know you're just going to get stronger because you're a beast in the gym.
We'll see.
Far. Don't doubt she is. I'll let you go back to your pups, but we'll talk soon.
Yeah. Thanks again. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right. Bye.
See ya.
Thank you guys so much for being here. Lindsay was fantastic. I loved working with her. Right now, today, first day opening, Monday, I have 10 spots open for 10 women that are ready to get stronger, ready to put the old mindsets behind them and become like the strongest. Sorry, the puppy's going off right now. The strongest, most confident version of themselves. The first 5 ladies that sign up with me, message me stronger. You're going to get a special deal that no one else is getting. So make sure to message me stronger. And thanks so much for being here. And I'll talk to you guys soon.